Chapter 22 10 years with swords, 100 years with spears. Ding! As the sound rang out, a line of words appeared on the display. Quasi-warrior, overworld combat, strength 676. Damn! Yang Tiang initially guessed that Lin Xiu's combat strength wouldn't be too low, but he didn't expect that it would be so high. Also, Lin Xiu's combat strength just happened to be 1 point higher than Zhang Yi. Impossible, impossible, Zhang Yi mumbled to himself. The others were dumbfounded. This was unbelievable. How could he improve so quickly in just a few short days? Could it be that he had been hiding his strength all this while? The students look at Lin Xiu differently now, and the look of disdain faded away from their faces. Lin Xiu stood in the center at this moment with his fist clenched tightly. He was merely the top in a class right now, and that wasn't enough. He wanted to be the top warrior. Lo Li was shocked too. Lin Xiu had simply brought him too many surprises. Great, great. We finally have 2 quasi-warriors in our class now. The next morning, everybody took the maglev train back. Due to the exhaustion from the past 3 days, everyone was much more active when they returned. Lin Xiu, Zhang Yi come over. After a half-day journey, everyone arrived at Jinyao Academy. After the other students left, Lo Li asked Lin Xiu and Zhang Yi to stay behind. Since both of you have reached the quasi-warrior level, you may try choosing the direction of your future development. Lo Li brought Zhang Yi and Lin Xiu to the martial arts hall and said to them, "Direction?" Zhang Yi was stunned, like he was overwhelmed. "You guys should know, right? The skins of evolved beasts that are rank 3 and above had changed. Right now, even lasers are unable to penetrate their skin, not to mention the bullet technology in the past. But with mankind's efforts, we have finally gathered some special metal from other planets, and weapons created with these special metals could break through their armor and cause damage to them." "You're saying that we can choose our weapons?" Lin Xiu interrupted Luo Li and asked. The former Lin Xiu combat strength was very weak, but he was the top student for his knowledge of mankind's history and other topics. "That's right," Luo Li nodded. "Pick the right weapon, then fit it in with its corresponding skill, and this would display the strength of a true warrior. Swords, great at piercing, could hurt people in every direction, able to use for attack and defend. Knives, great at chopping, could cause large-scale damage when used with a skill, is the weapon with the strongest killing power." "Teacher Lo, what is the weapon you use?" Zhang Yi thought about it and asked. "Staff. I use a staff." Lo Li reached out and brought his staff over without hesitation. Even though staves only caused blunt injuries and weren't as bloody as compared to sabers and swords, it could still cause a great deal of damage when used with a skill. Lo Li held his staff, then stood in the middle of the martial arts hall. He yelled, "Silver skill, sweep of heaven and earth." The second he waved his staff, a huge shadow appeared in a flash. Bang! The staff hit the ground and the entire ground began shaking as if there was an earthquake. Amazing! Lin Xiu clicked his tongue when he saw this scene. He had heard that Lo Li was a rank 3 warrior, but he didn't expect that the same silver skill would be so much stronger when performed by a rank 3 warrior compared to that rank 2 warrior in the A20 district forest he met previously. If that staff hit a person, he or she would probably be smashed into a pulp. This is just a silver skill. There is still gold skill and diamond skill. Those are more powerful but are also harder to cultivate. Lo Li placed his staff back to its original place and said, "I've decided that I want to use a saber." Zhang Yi nodded and said, "During the 820 district real combat training, he found the battle blade that the academy distributed to everyone was quite easy to use. I also think that the saber is quite suited to you." Lo Li nodded, then walked to the computer and began to record the information with a card. Very soon, he handed Zhang Yi the card with Jin Yao Academy's logo printed on it. "Your information is inside the card already. Take this card and go to the second floor of the library. You can get the Secret Saber Techniques card and the Cultivation Technique." "Thank you, teacher." Zhang Yi was brimming with joy when he received the card. After thanking the teacher, he began walking towards the library. "Lin Xiu, even though I don't know how your strength has skyrocketed, everyone has their own secrets and I wouldn't probe. But what weapon have you decided to use?" Lo Li spoke to Lin Xiu with a complex gaze. In terms of knowledge, Lin Xiu was definitely considered a genius, but in terms of cultivation, he had a very poor attitude. Lo Li didn't think that he could actually reach the level of a quasi-warrior in such a short period of time, and this was simply shocking. "Spear," Lin Xiu replied directly without hesitation. "Spear?" Lo Li was taken aback. He thought that with Lin Xiu's character, he would choose swords or sabers, but never expected that he would choose spears. A spear was considered the king of 100 soldiers, and its killing power was extraordinarily strong. But, as the saying goes, it takes a year to be a good with sabers, 10 years with swords, and 100 years with spears. Spears could be said to be one of the most challenging weapons to train. Once trained well, it would be formidable. Just like Zhang Zilong from the famous scene in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, he was using a spear. "Could you tell me why you choose this weapon?" Lo Li asked out of curiosity. He felt that he couldn't understand the current Lin Xiu. If not for the fact that Lin Xiu looked exactly the same, Lo Li would have thought that he was a different person. "Teacher Lo, do you know who is the top warrior in the world?" Lin Xiu didn't answer his question and looked at him with a squint as he spoke. Before Lo Li could answer, Lin Xiu continued. "Dong Fanghua. He uses a sword, and his famous skill, drowning sword method, was said to be able to slash an entire town. The second in the world is an American, Tuo Ersi, and he uses a giant sword." "Teacher Luo, don't you think that the list of top 10 warriors in the world is lacking a warrior who uses a spear?" Lo Li's mouth opened wide, and when he looked at Lin Xiu, he saw something called ambition.